His Royal Highness the Crown Prince on several occasions, I would imagine. What can you say about his leadership style? What can you tell us about that?
Sure. So I had the pleasure and an honor to meet His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman many times, and I'm always impressed with a combination of his very big and very significant positive vision for the Saudi people and for the world, but also ability to implement this vision into very specific, tangible actions that transform Saudi Arabia. And I think the world has seen really major transformation in Saudi economy, in Saudi culture over the last 5 years. And this is a result of the team that His Royal Highness put together that is really focused on tangible, specific results. And when we go and have discussions with public investment fund, with other entities, we see people who are really focused on ensuring good investments, ensuring good results. So it's a combination of very positive vision and specifics that makes him a unique leader. And of course, we saw the announcement of his new project, The Line, which we believe is really very much forward-thinking project that will create lots of jobs, that will be good for environment, that will be good for technology development, and basically will be implemented in Saudi Arabia.
Can you give me your candid opinion of how Saudi Arabia has handled its COVID-19 response?
Well, Frank, I think Saudi Arabia handled it very well. So if you look at the total number of cases, if you look at basically the actions of the Saudi government, of His Majesty the King, His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman, you see very strong response, very aggressive response that allowed Saudi to contain really this problem much better than many countries. And I think this is really a testament to your very efficient and very focused system, focused on testing, focused on really treating people early. And we also saw the vaccine rollout steps that you have taken. So I think Saudi really managed this very well, much better than many countries. And I think Saudi handling of the COVID pandemics is actually a good example for many countries.
There was also the action taken during the G20, wasn't there? And of course, Russia was involved in that too. Do you think that will bear fruit in the years ahead in terms of response to the pandemic and the economic crisis that it caused?
Yeah, definitely. I think, the G20 summit by Saudi Arabia has been very successful. It was held at one of the most difficult times in the history of the world. And basically, Saudi Arabia brought most of the world leaders together to really make key decisions on pandemics and other issues. So we believe this was really a historic G20, and we believe that Saudi leadership on COVID issues and on other issues really united many world leaders together, united maybe some of the previously conflicting opinions on several subjects, and really brought the world together.
Tell me, in your view, what is the essence of this increasingly close relationship?
Well, I think the essence of this relationship is trust. And we have really built this trust working together on a wide variety of issues. And really, I think Saudi-Russia renaissance, or really great partnership that was built because of the leadership of President Putin, because of the leadership of His Majesty the King and His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, is really an example for how many other nations can work together. And, we had lots of misunderstandings between Russia and Saudi in the past, frankly, very little communication, frankly, very little effort to work on issues. But we started working on energy issues, on investment issues, on healthcare issues. And by this work, we built really great partnership that led to dramatic positive results for Saudi people, positive results for Russian people and people of the world. And I'm not talking only about the energy deals that stabilized oil prices one time after another time, after another time, after another time. I think, the fact that oil prices are stable, which is good for consumers and producers, is a very specific result of our cooperation. But we've also financed jointly many infrastructure projects, many projects that are really helping to create jobs in Russia and Saudi Arabia. And I think this cooperation is an example, as I mentioned, for other nations that they should put aside differences and some of the political misunderstandings, really focus on joint projects, really focus on economics, and achieve better understanding and better political relationship through this very wise, successful, results-oriented approach.
But are there circumstances, do you think, in which Saudi and Russian interests in oil might diverge? Can you imagine any circumstances in which they would differ?
Well, I think we both are interested in the stable oil markets, so we are completely aligned. I think there are some short-term, adjustments that are being made. Russia has a very cold winter, so basically there are some technical limitations on what we can do with the supply of oil in the winter months. And I think it's very important that our Saudi colleagues understand some of those issues, and we found a very good compromise. And I think this surprise cut from Saudi Arabia, it's a very important contribution, as our Vice Prime Minister Novak said, New Year present to the world, because it really led to more stability, more predictability in the oil markets, and I think shows the critical role that Saudi Arabia plays in those energy markets. So we always are able to find agreement, and it is driven by consensus that we all have. We want to have stable markets that are good for consumers and for producers. And basically, this is why we are so successful in all those agreements over the course of the last 5 years.
I'm not going to ask you where you want oil prices to go, but I'm going to ask you where you think they will go. What do you think the price of Brent crude will be at the end of 2021?
Well, I think there are many moving parts here. And I think, once again, the Saudi surprise cut was very instrumental, given the new strains of the virus appearing, given the lockdowns that are happening around the world. So it's very difficult and frankly impossible to predict oil prices, given such huge movements on COVID infections and increase in COVID infections in Europe. Given, on the other hand, the positive hand stimulus that Biden administration is undertaking now in the US, which of course will be very positive for the economy of the US and for oil prices. So we believe, oil prices are likely to remain more or less stable in the near term, close to what they are now, maybe increasing a little bit. But of course, this is all subject to many different forces, very divergent forces affecting oil price. And that's why our basically monthly and sometimes even more frequent consultations with the Saudi side on the market are very important, because Russia, Saudi Arabia, OPEC Plus are very well positioned to make any adjustment necessary in the energy field if necessary.